Hi everyone, I'm Loida with Team BC in Southern California. In this video, I am going to be sharing with you exactly what it is that you need to know to figure out whether real estate is the right career for you. So stay tuned. So if you're watching this video, it's probably because you are a brand new agent or you are currently researching about real estate and possibly becoming a realtor, or perhaps you are a real estate agent and things have not been going the way you thought they were going to be. So first, I do want to begin by saying that this career is not for everyone. If you are looking for easy money or to do this part-time and think that you're just going to get a whole bunch of deals as soon as you begin, the reality is that that's probably not going to happen. Real estate, real life is completely different than what you see in TV and $1 Million Listing and all these other shows. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this business, especially in the beginning. And a lot of the info that I'm going to be sharing is especially if you are a newer agent or if you have been in the business between 0 and 5 years. Because all of the things that I'm going to mention are things that I have gone through personally. So there are going to be many times that you just want to cry and yell and give up. And that is just the nature of this business. You deal with so many different personalities. In one day, you can go through all of the different emotions that you can possibly have and still know that until you close a deal or close a transaction, you are not getting paid. So first, I want to begin with the work that is put in. So in this business, you are pretty much your own boss. You have to push yourself. Yes, you will have a broker or you possibly will be working for a team, but you have to be self-driven. You have to know exactly what it is that you want to achieve. You have to have everything written down, your goals, how much commission you want to make, how many transactions you want to do, because this is what's going to push you to actually put in the work. Because in this business, you get paid in proportion to how much work you put in. You cannot be expecting a paycheck every single week. And chances are that in the beginning, it might be 6 months or more before you even see a paycheck. Along with that, once you do start having transactions and working with clients, you will quickly realize that everyone is completely different. You will deal with so many different personalities and characteristics. A lot of times you will see that your clients will be very emotional along with the other agents that you're working with. And it is your responsibility to pretty much be neutral and know that their emotions are not a reflection of you and what you're doing. They're just not used to possibly, for example, if you're representing a buyer and they did their home inspection and it turns out that the home has a lot of problems and now they're really upset, you can't take it personal. I want to make sure that you are clear that in this business, you can't take things personal. If you take things personal, then this is not for you. Along with that, I want to talk about prospecting. When you're new, chances are that you're probably going to have to do cold calls at some point, unless you're handed leads. But again, that is all depending on whether or not you're in a team or the broker that you work with is giving you leads. But even so, these leads are probably people that you have never spoken to. So you're going to have to make these cold calls. And let me tell you, sometimes people are not as nice as you think. Sometimes they yell, sometimes they scream, sometimes they cuss you out, sometimes they just go off on you. And you're on the other side of the phone, like scared and panicking, and you have to know that, they're going off and their emotions have nothing to do with you. For example, for me, I call a lot of expireds. Many of them are upset. Many of them have already received a ton of phone calls before I have called. And many of them are upset when they're talking to me, but I know not to take it personal because first of all, they came off the market because their home did not sell. Now, the reason that their home did not sell might have been because their agent didn't do a good job, but I know that I had nothing to do with that property not selling. So their emotions and how they're coming off on me has nothing to do with me. All I can do is really just listen and know that, Mr. Seller, I know you're really upset because of what happened. However, I would feel the same way. That's sometimes what I use and what I say when I have these type of conversations, but that's just an example. Along with that, you know, once you are doing deals and going through transactions, there will always be little things that come up in a transaction that you think are going to be the end of the world and that you think are going to be emergencies, and they're not. I like to think that there's always a solution for anything, and things will always work themselves out. You will also see that many times you will work with very incompetent agents. There are a lot of amazing, great agents out there, but at the same time, there are a lot of agents that really should not be in this business. Many of them do not communicate. They don't answer their phone. They don't answer their text messages. They don't answer their emails. They put false information on the MLS. They do false advertisement. They try to double end deals. So it's very possible that, let's say you're working with a buyer and they are completely in love with a property that they saw on Zillow. You researched it, you've reached out to the listing agent and you just never hear from them. Or you have submitted an offer and you just never hear from the listing agent. Chances are that they're trying to double end the listing and just trying to procure their own buyer, because they might just want to keep the entire commission for themselves, or they took the listing at such a low commission, perhaps 2, 3, or 4%, that it makes more sense for them to hopefully procure their own buyer than actually do their sellers a service and expose their property to every single buyer out there and present any offer that does come through. So you're probably going to come across that at some point. All of these things are just things that I have learned throughout the past 5 years being in this business. Now, in the first year, something else that I do want to mention, especially if you're new watching this, is that there will be many times where you are putting in the work. Let's say you're making the calls, you're going door knocking, you are generating leads and putting them in your database, and it feels like no one is converting, like no one wants to buy, no one wants to sell, and you might get to the point that you want to give up. And it is at this point that you have to think to yourself, what has been the big difference in my improvement from when I started? You have to learn to focus on the positive things. I noticed that back then when I got to that point, I started to focus on the negative things. I thought that I sucked, that I was horrible, that I wasn't going to do well in this industry, when I was focusing on the wrong thing. What I needed to focus on was the fact that I was getting so much better on the phones and handling objections that I knew that it was only going to be a matter of time before I actually converted a lead. Now, after this happened, about 2 months later is when I got my first listing, which was right under $1 million out here in Orange County. And we actually ended up double ending that listing because we found a buyer. We did not purposely try to double end it, just so I can make things clear. We exposed it to everyone. We got multiple offers. This lead that I set the appointment with and got the listing was actually a gentleman that had been on the market back in 2014 and sat on the market for almost 2 years. Then we came back, priced it at the price that it should have been in order to get sold. We got multiple offers in less than a week, and we sold it for the most that this gentleman could get the seller. So that is one example. So again, you have to focus on the positive things. Another thing that I do want to mention is that if you are scared of picking up the phone and talking to people, perhaps this is something that you're not going to enjoy doing. Now, it doesn't mean that you only have to make phone calls all the time. You can easily go out door knocking, or perhaps you can work with a team where you are working strictly with buyers or people that are handed to you that are more warm leads. But again, you have to be comfortable stepping out of your comfort zone. If you're not comfortable doing that or talking to strangers, then you're going to have a very, very difficult time in this business, because again, our job and everything that we do is pretty much talking to strangers every single day and making them see that us as agents will help them in whatever it is that their real estate needs are. And the last thing that I want to mention and talk about is for you to know exactly why it is that you're getting into this business. If you are already in the business, why did you get into real estate? Or if you're thinking about getting into real estate, what is your motivation factor for actually wanting to become a real estate agent? This will have a big influence again in the way that you perform and the way that you carry out yourself being a real estate agent. What I mean by all of this is that if you're just getting into real estate because you think it's going to be easy to just sell a house here and there and people are just going to come to you, that's not how it's going to happen. I'm sorry to tell you and burst your bubble, but that's not how it's going to happen. People are probably not going to know you, especially in the beginning when you're newer. There might be some people that are hesitant about using you because they know that you are a new real estate agent. There are a lot of factors that are involved when it comes to your success. So along with things that I mentioned earlier, in order for you to succeed, things that are going to make you stand out are your skills. You know, it's funny because sometimes I get messages and comments from people, from you guys watching me, that think that the only reason that I'm successful or that I do well in real estate is because I'm a woman and I'm not that bad looking. I've literally gotten those messages. And what's funny is that a lot of the business that I generate is all through cold calling, so they never see my face. So what makes me stand out are my skills, my communication and listening skills. The fact that I can listen to anyone, any personality, and be able to mirror them in a way that they can see that I am a skilled agent that will actually help them and knows what they're doing. That is what has allowed me to become successful. Not my looks, and also not the fact that I'm a woman. So the last thing I actually do want you to know is that this business is an emotional roller coaster. Some days you are going to be super happy and excited at the fact that you are a real estate agent helping people with their real estate goals and dreams. And other days you are going to want to cry and question whether or not you even should be in this business. Now, ultimately, it's up to you if you're going to let your emotions or some outside sources influence you and your decision to giving up, or if you're going to push through because your reason and your why for getting into this business is much bigger than a very small problem that you think is going to ruin or allow you to not succeed in this business. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. As a reminder, the new Real Estate Agent Bootcamp will be launching this Wednesday, August 12th. So if you are interested in joining, make sure that you click on the link below, loidavelasquez.com/new agent. And I will see you guys in the next video.